This is the Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV. It's a plug-in hybrid electric vehicle which Mitsubishi promises is a highly capable and practical SUV that offers unprecedented value and low running costs. So, to find out what it's like to live with, we are going to see how it copes with two different commutes. Auto Express editor-in-chief Steve Fowler will drive the Outlander from his house in Buckinghamshire, 22 miles to Auto Express head office in central London. Then editor-at-large Matt Watson will drive it to his destination in Tooting, a journey of just 10 miles. Together they will see what the Outlander is like to drive, try out some of its features, check its practicality and even its off-road capability. And of course they will see what kind of economy the PHEV can return over their journeys. It's Monday morning and Steve needs to take his dogs for their daily walk before heading into work. But does he think the PHEV is up to the job?
Most hybrids have compromises, and one of the compromises is the battery pack, which has to go somewhere. But in the Outlander, it's cleverly positioned underneath the rear seats. I can still get my 3 kids in the back quite easily, but the great thing is it's pretty much the same amount of boot space as you get in the diesel version, so it's ideal for sticking a couple of dogs in the back.
Under the bonnet, the Outlander PHEV has a 2-litre petrol engine and an electric motor, both of which can drive the front wheels. There's also another motor under the boot floor which drives the rear wheels, and means that just like the diesel Outlander, the PHEV is all-wheel drive.
The plug-in hybrid version of the Outlander comes with 5 seats, but if you want a 7-seat version, there's the excellent diesel you can buy. But what the diesel doesn't have is this superb iPhone app. Now, before I leave home in the morning, I can check on the battery status of the car, and I can even turn the climate control on so that the car's nice and toasty before I go off for my walk.
Heating the car uses up a small amount of its battery power, but if you do it while it's plugged in charging, the heater draws current from the mains instead of the battery. A full charge takes up to 5 hours from a 13-amp socket and can cost as little as £1 depending on your tariff. Plus you can set the time it charges so you can make the most of off-peak rates. If you have access to one, you can also charge the PHEV's batteries to 80% full in just 30 minutes using a fast charger.
According to Mitsubishi, you can do about 32.5 miles on electric power alone. Now, I had a full charge this morning and I took the dog for a walk, but now I'm heading on my 22-mile commute into central London. You can do up to 70 miles an hour on battery power alone in this car. When you do need a little bit more power, you can just put your foot down and the electric power is supplemented by the petrol engine. And it's always pretty refined. I would say more refined than it is in a diesel hybrid.
In a moment, we'll find out what economy Steve gets from the Outlander PHEV. But one thing he doesn't have to worry about is London's congestion charge. With emissions of just 44 grams per kilometre of carbon dioxide, it's one of the few new cars to be exempt under stricter rules.
So I've arrived in the office car park in central London. I haven't had to pay the congestion charge, which is really good. And I've just checked the readout and we've got over 90 miles per gallon. That's one seriously good result. Didn't manage to get it all on battery power, I think because there was a fair bit of 70 mile an hour stuff at the beginning of my journey, and taking the dogs for a walk this morning also played a part, but that's a really, really good result. I'm really impressed with that, but I better go and plug in so Matt can drive the car home.
According to the official test cycle, the Outlander PHEV will return 148 miles per gallon. But Mitsubishi wants to be upfront about the car's real-world running costs, so customers can make the right choice between the hybrid and the diesel model. And it says that on average, the PHEV will be more economical for journeys of up to 106 miles. But what about the premium you'll pay to buy it in the first place? Well, there isn't one. The Outlander PHEV starts from £28,249, which is exactly the same as for a similarly specified diesel automatic.
Normally plug-in hybrid vehicles cost an awful lot more than their normal engine counterparts, but that's where the Outlander PHEV is a real game changer. It costs exactly the same as the diesel model, which makes it far easier to see the savings much quicker. I was pretty surprised when I heard that, and I think some of my colleagues were too.
Yeah, I was really shocked actually, because normally plug-in hybrids cost a lot more.
I simply could not believe it when I saw the price of this car.
I've not seen a plug-in hybrid be the same price as a diesel before.
I was genuinely surprised when I found out the price. It's a bit of a bargain.
I'd have thought a plug-in hybrid would be a lot more expensive than a diesel, so it's very unusual that it's not.
Yeah, I was really impressed actually. It's amazing to get that amount of tech for the same price as a diesel.
I'm amazed at the price of the Outlander PHEV because I run a plug-in hybrid and it's a lot more expensive to buy than the normal car.
The Outlander PHEV is especially good value for company car drivers. As an electric car, it's only taxed at 5% for benefit in kind in the first year, whereas most diesel SUVs will be taxed at around 25%. This means it costs you £665 in year one if you are a higher rate taxpayer, saving you thousands compared with a diesel. But let's get back to our economy test and see how the Outlander PHEV performs on Matt's commute.
Okay then, so I've got a full battery and in theory I should be able to get to Tooting, no problem at all. Thing with hybrids though, I've driven quite a lot and I have been able to get their claimed economy figures, but that's usually by driving so incredibly slow that you actually annoy other road users. And when you drive them in your usual driving style, you find out that their economy is, well, it's often not any better than a normal car. And so for this test, I want to do it fairly. I want to drive in my usual Matt Watson driving style, which some people might say is a little bit aggressive, but let's do it. Let's see what this car can do.
When driving under electric power alone, the Outlander PHEV emits a faint sound at up to 22 miles per hour, so pedestrians can hear it coming, although you can turn this off if you want to. All cars in the PHEV range get the Mitsubishi Super all-wheel control like you get on the Evo 10, which can alter the power sent to each wheel for optimum grip.
Because the batteries are located low down in the car, it does actually improve the centre of gravity, and it means that the PHEV version of the Outlander feels even more stable when you're going round corners than the diesel version. I guess that's really handy when you're dodging about through London traffic or trying to whiz down some rat runs. It does add weight to the car though, or the electrical equipment. You're talking around, I think it's around 200 kilograms, but you don't actually notice any trade-off in performance because you've got that instant response from the electric motor. So when you put your foot down, it does respond very quickly. And 0 to 60, 11 seconds. It's all right, isn't it?
When you lift off the accelerator in the PHEV, the electric motors act as dynamos to charge the battery. You can alter the effect of this engine braking using the paddles on the steering wheel. All this helps improve efficiency. Speaking of which, let's find out what economy Matt achieved.
Right, and so here we are, and the trick computer is saying I've used 0.7 litres per 100 kilometres, which is about 404 miles per gallon, which is insane. Interestingly, I've used half the battery, so I could, in theory, go back to the office again and charge up and keep doing that ad infinitum. But now, actually, I want to do something a little bit different that I've never done before, and I'm going to press this button down here, which is the battery save mode, and it'll make sure that from now on, it'll save whatever my remaining charge is, which is half. So let's go try something different.
Running in battery save mode allows you to preserve the remaining electricity, should you, like Matt, need it for later. Alternatively, you can charge the battery up to 80% full in 30 minutes, just by using the engine as a generator. But why exactly did Matt want to save the PHEV's charge?
Okay, so I've come to an off-road course, right, because I've never been off-roading just using electric power alone. I want to, well, give it a go, to tell you the truth. And I'm hoping that this can go off-road just as well as you'd expect a normal Mitsubishi to be able to. I'm going to put it into twin motor four-wheel drive lock and embark on what has to be the greenest off-roading I've ever done.
By ticking electric off-roading off his bucket list, Matt has also proved something very important. The Outlander PHEV is just as capable as the diesel version, even though for most people it will be significantly cheaper to run. It's a win-win situation.